Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Um, I was watching some news clips on the internet, and they were saying that we broke a temperature record, something about 3 days in a row, that it's been hotter than any other time in the last 120,000 years. Now, a couple thoughts on that. First of all, I think, okay, has the National Weather Service been keeping accurate data for 120,000 years? I don't think so. Second of all, does the planet go through climatic changes? Of course it does. You know, geologic time happens over such a long period, eons, millennia, millions of years. And, you can't say, well, it's hotter now than it was in 1950, so we're having global warming. Well, the reality of it is, if you follow the science, is that we could be in the middle of a 200-year warming period inside of a 20,000-year ice age. That's how the Earth operates. I mean, in the Middle Ages, they used to talk about growing wine in Greenland, vineyards up in Greenland, and other parts of Scandinavia. Then they had a little ice age. It was very cold during the Revolutionary War back then. And then we've got the Industrial Revolution and whatnot. But, you know, climate change, it happens. Are we adding to it? Maybe, maybe not. But you've got to follow the money and follow the power in all this. Um, the main thing is people talk about the planet warming, global warming. Okay, that's possible. But are we causing it and can we stop it? So far from the people who follow that theory is that we can only stop this through tax increases and more regulations. Of course, the regulations won't apply to much of Asia, Africa, South America, but it'll apply to the United States and some of the nations in Western Europe. Well, if the United States just quit, if we somehow became carbon neutral, the buzzword of the day, everything that China, India, and much of Africa produces as they grow their economies will negate any savings that we have. Now, does that mean we should slash and burn? No. But we have to lay everything out, look at it without politics, without a lot of emotion, and figure that if the planet is warming, isn't that better than having the planet cooling? Don't more people die from freezing than they do from excess heat? Seems that way to me. Um, but they talk about climate refugees are coming into the United States. These people aren't, it's economic refugees for the most part. Um, you look at places in Central America and Mexico, it's always hot there. It's always warm. My wife and I have been to Mexico 3 times and Costa Rica twice in the past 5 years. And we were in Aruba in 2018. And it's hot there because you're closer to the equator, you're farther south. Um, but do we really think that we can stop whatever's going on if the temperature is going to rise by 3 degrees Celsius in the next 150 years? If that's correct, can we stop it? Can we stop the sea levels rising? I'm kind of skeptical. Now, I think pollution is probably a bigger problem than carbon emissions. All that plastic floating in the ocean, and we probably don't recycle as much as we should. We should strive for a cleaner environment. But some of the solutions being proposed, like having everybody driving electric cars, well, you can't do that while you're cutting the power grid. You can't, we need to be adding to our energy matrix. We have a lot of people who think, we should have an open border and have another 40 or 50 million people come into the country. Well, if you believe that, okay, fine. That's a different subject for a different day. But how can you simultaneously say that we need to constrict our economy and um, inhibit our domestic energy production? Can't do all this on wind and solar. Sure, those things have a niche, as do biomass fuels, nuclear, hydroelectric. even tidal power. They have a way they can generate electricity with tides. But, you know, California leads the way with a lot of things. They're going to outlaw diesel trucks. Okay, well, you can't get that the power from a gasoline engine. There's sometimes you can use compressed natural gas or liquefied natural gas, but eh, then you got a problem with the range. Hydrogen fuel cells, that offers an alternative, but there again, hydrogen is highly combustible and it's got to be under high pressure, and they don't have the infrastructure. There's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things up in the air right now, but you know, why can't we maybe embrace, if the planet is truly warming, why don't we embrace it and stay ahead of it and spend our efforts trying to mitigate the long-term damage and maybe adapt to it rather than trying to stop it? Because if we put all our energy in trying to stop it from happening and then it still happens anyway, we're going to be screwed. So why not, sea walls, better construction techniques, maybe not building in places where the quote unquote sea levels are rising. And in some instances, it's not so much the sea level rising, but the ground is also sinking. I know it's the same thing, but we've got earthquakes, forest fires, floods. We got to find better ways of managing things with the technology we already have while we work on new technology that's going to keep us ahead of these things. Throughout human history, mankind has always used innovation, technology, and ingenuity to overcome problems. Things are hot, so we had air conditioning. Things get cold, so we have heat. We needed to get places, so we built roads. Capitalism, innovation, technology, these are all things they don't have to be mutually exclusive to each other. You can't say, well, I'm an environmentalist and I oppose capitalism, or, well, I'm a capitalist, screw the environment. No, it doesn't have to be that way. We've got a lot of smart people in this country. You just need to let them do things. But be very wary of people who are so smart that they think they know what is good for you while they don't participate in it themselves, such as a billionaire who flies around in private jets and owns several yachts and several homes and tells you that you have to live in a cardboard box and, drive a battery powered car because you're polluting the environment too much. Take what these people say with a grain of salt. You'll see some activists say, oh, the sea levels are rising, but they live in a $20 million beachfront home, or they build a house on an island when they say the sea levels are rising and that Florida's going to be underwater. Just be skeptical. Don't be a denier. Don't be a climate denier. Don't say, oh, these people are all wrong. No, just be a skeptic. Use your thinking cap. That's why God gave you a brain. Use it. Anyway, that's enough for now. I'm not trying to really ruffle anybody's feathers. Just trying to throw a couple things out there. We gotta stay ahead of this, and maybe we need to embrace, adapt, and overcome instead of trying to stop a problem. It's just like if you want to protect your family, you have a fire department in your town, but that doesn't mean you still can't have a fire extinguisher in your house. Think small, think right in front of you. And if you think small, you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. All right, folks, peace out.